Oh, hello. Welcome to the SF Comic Book Company. This is Ray Gonzalez coming to you from the Rayseum here in San Francisco. So today's video is going to be talking about X-Men, in particular Johnathan Hickman's X-Men. Issue number 1 just came out. This lovely lady right here with that lovely Art Germ cover. Art Germ pretty much is everywhere if you don't know his art. They kind of all look the same, but they're beautiful, so we'll give them a pass. So, purchased at Amazing Fantasy here in San Francisco. Great comic book shop. If you haven't been there, please, you should frequent that place. It's a very, very cool shop. So, X-Men, I love the X-Men. X-Men is my favorite comic book of all time, favorite run of all time. Going back, to the first Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, to the Cockrum, Claremont, John Byrne run, to the Australian Outback in the mid '80s, to the Jim Lee Strike Force X-Men, even up to Scott Lobdell, even a little past that. I just love the X-Men. Collected them for a long time, but the X-Men after that, pretty much up till after Joss Whedon's run, has not been great. I think Joss Whedon, of Buffy and Avengers directing fame, had the last great run of X-Men comic books. So X-Men has not been great for a while. It's been an up and down run with the X-Men. Like Grant Morrison had an epic run, even though the ending wasn't that great. The Cronenberg X-Men, weird, freaky X-Men, Grant Morrison X-Men, had its moments, ended the last few storylines in that run, which I overheard that Grant Morrison was forced to rush the finale. It didn't get to do what he wanted to do in the end, so it didn't end the way it should have been, and it was forced, and it did not work for me. So between that time, there was a couple of decent runs. Jason Aaron's run, which I enjoyed for the most part, and that kind of teetered off towards the end. I just don't like Wolverine as a teacher, but that run was really good. Matt Fraction's run had a lot of good ideas also, but again, it just wasn't great. It wasn't great, but it was serviceable. Going in the last few years, some of these storylines, especially dealing with the character of Cyclops, has not been great. Something about people, the way people write Cyclops the past 10 years is, I don't. I think it's just not doing justice to the character. Cyclops is a great character. A lot of people don't like Cyclops. They only know Cyclops from the TV show and the cartoon, the cartoon TV show, and the movies. And the movies and the cartoon have not really portrayed Cyclops properly. They kind of make him. They haven't made him the badass that he is. So Cyclops has never been given the right justice, in my opinion. He's a great character. If you don't think so, you need to read the Dark Phoenix saga. You need to read Willis Petracio's run on X Factor. Cyclops fights Apocalypse in the astral plane. It's badass. Cyclops is a great character. One of the most tragic characters in comics. One of the, even more so than some of these main big time characters, Batman, Spider-Man. Cyclops has been way worse stuff. He's gone through the ringer. He's had children get sent to the future. His wife died a couple times, and he married a clone of his ex-girlfriend, and he died a couple times. Cyclops has been through the shit. He's been through hell and back. And he's a great character. I think he's very underrated as a character, but in the last 10 years, he has been written as almost a villain, kind of a Magneto type character. It kind of pains me the last 10 years of the way Cyclops has been written. and just the X-Men in general, they just don't feel like X-Men to me, and it's been a while. Up until probably earlier this year, Matthew Rosenberg's run of X-Men. It's kind of pretty much a finale. It's in 2 trade paperbacks. If you want to pick those up, I highly recommend them. It's kind of the last X-Men story before this Hickman kind of reboot, kind of restart of the X-Men. So Rosenberg's X-Men is really good. It's, I believe, collected in 2 trade paperbacks. X-Men, Wolverine and Cyclops, Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's really good, really enjoyable. And if you're an X-Men fan, it's really kind of a good swan song, kind of a good ending. Like, if they would have ended it there and no more X-Men stories, I would have been fine with that. But no, we have Johnathan Hickman coming in. Johnathan Hickman is a writer. He's written Fantastic Four, great run on Fantastic Four. Another great run on the Avengers, which I haven't completed yet. I was kind of confused by it because I missed a couple trades, a couple books, and if in Hickman, if you miss a couple trades, you're going to be confused. So I was confused for most of it, but the ending of Secret Wars, the Hickman Secret Wars, where Doom is God, epic, so good. One of my favorite storylines in the past 10 years. A great storyline. If you haven't read that storyline, pick it up. Hickman is an amazing writer. So talking going I have notes today. I'm a professional, so I have notes. So you'll see me looking down at my notes because I'm trying to be a professional. Okay, it's very hard for me. So going into Hickman's run, House of X and Power of X. It was a 12-part series that just recently wrapped up last week. Yes, I've said that twice already. It was amazing. It's probably one of the best storylines I've read in a long time. One of the best X-Men runs I've read in a long time. Not forgetting the Rosenberg X-Men, but before that, long time. So it's pretty much a reboot, kind of a restart of the X-Men. I want to go into a little bit about it. It kind of ignores the last 10 years, but it deals with. It's hard to explain, but it deals with Moira McTaggart. She is she's revealed to be a mutant. Her mutant power is to be resurrect. Every time she dies, she gets resurrected into the womb when she was a child. When she was a baby in the womb, she retains all her memories. So this has happened a few times. So she's died a few times, went back. She remembers everything. And so she decides after a few times of the mutants failing, her dying, she's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take all this knowledge. I'm going to get Xavier involved early on, and we're going to do it right. We're going to get Magneto involved. We're going to be together, and we're going to unite mutants and make mutants put mutants in the place they're destined to be. They're the next evolution of humans. So they start a society, and this has happened before. There's been Utopia and Genosha, Utopia in the Matt Fraction, Genosha in Grant Morrison's run, where the mutants take over land and they try to start a society, but it just doesn't work out. So this is a storyline where for now it works out. They're starting to they take Krakoa from Giant Size X-Men #1, the living island. Basically creates a world for mutants, a world where mutants can basically a country of mutants, their own sovereign nation. So basically they're trying to right the wrongs and try to do it. They're tired of trying to work with the humans. Every time they try to work with the humans, they end up getting blown up, getting hunted, whatever. So now it's time for them to start their own nation and do things their way. And like I said, they've tried this before and it hasn't worked. So this time, Moira McTaggart is determined to make things work. So it's crazy because villains, all mutants of all kinds, villains, heroes, whatever. They're welcome here in Krakoa, and they're going to start the society. There's a lot of twists, a lot of turns. Every issue was like a mind F. I was blown away by every issue. It just, every issue, like, you have to read it. I believe a collection's coming out in December. It's 12 issues. You got to read them all. You feel smarter and stupider while you read them, because it just blows your mind every issue. I can't recommend it enough. You have to read it. Let's see. It's refreshing to see Cyclops written well, and all these characters. Jean Grey is written well. Storm, all these characters, Magneto, they're all written really well, and it feels like an X-Men story, that a good progression for the X-Men. So they're finally using these characters the way they should be using them. So now they're building this society. The big enemy in this storyline is humans, machines, kind of the evolution of that. It takes place in the past, present, 100 years in the future, and 1,000 years in the future. And it deals with the phalanx. It's insane. It goes all over the place. Which kind of like this video today. It's just going all over the place because it's insane. I was mind-effed every time I read an issue of that run. My mind was blown. I just like, what? This happened. So it's kind of hard to talk about without spoiling like some key moments, but they've figured out how to cheat death. One of the big things about X-Men is they always die. Like, they come back. They always, like, Cyclops has died. Pretty much every single X-Men character has died once and been resurrected. So they kind of figured out how they can not die anymore, and so that is off the table. Death for a mutant is off the table now. And the book explains it way better than I can, because I can't really do that justice. You have to read it. Everything's just like, it's insane. It's insane. It's hard to describe. You have to read the storyline. Read it when it comes out. It's amazing. Seeing Apocalypse side with the X-Men. They're all together. Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse, Exodus, like all these cutty X-Men villains. They're all together now. They're all as one. They banded together, decided to put away their differences, and work together and create this society. And it's pretty much it's a badass storyline, and the way they get their sovereignty, they basically tell the world, hey, we have cures for cancer, we have cures for this, for that, and we can offer this to you. You have to acknowledge us as a nation, and basically they're saying we're not playing around anymore. We're mutants. We have powers, and we deserve our place on the food chain. So it's epic. It's such a good storyline. So going into X-Men number 1, sorry I rambled for so long. So going into X-Men number 1, great. It's a really good start. It's pretty much the Summers. It's like Summers hanging out. The Summers family vacation. It starts off with Cyclops acting like a badass, really written well. Good interactions between him and Storm. The big bad of this, like I said earlier, is the human machine element. You need to read it to understand what it kind of is. But it's fun at the Summers family home. There's Vulcan, Havoc, Corsairs in it, the Starjammers, Cable, who's de-aged. I don't know why he's de-aged, but he's de-aged right now. And it feels like the old issues where in the X-Men where they like play baseball or walking in a mall or just hanging out and just they're being a family and there's banter, they're fighting and arguing and joking with each other, and that's kind of what the heart of the X-Men is. It's them joking and being a family, and just kind of the best soap opera in comics with the X-Men. I love the banter between the characters is really well. It's a good start. Leniel Francis Yu does the art. I'm not a huge fan of his art. Some angles look really cool and it looks great, but in some angles the faces look kind of weird, kind of stiff. The action, but he's not the worst, of course. But I think, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him being there, but Hickman's writing makes up for that. There's also a weird sleeping arrangement. There's the good thing about Hickman's run, he gives you little reading material in between, like some of the stories, and like kind of breaks stuff down. And they have in the Summers compound, they have Wolverine lives there, and they show basically all the room, everybody where the sleeping arrangements. But there's three rooms that are all connected, but it's Jean Grey in the middle, Cyclops on one side, and Wolverine on the other side, and they're all connected. Those rooms are connected. So I don't know if they're going with a weird three-way situation where they're just gonna be, you know, banging everyone. Everyone's gonna be banging each other or something. And actually, that's one of the things in the book. It's one of the laws of the new mutant utopia that they want to advance their society, and basically Nightcrawler comes out and says they gotta bang. We all have to start banging each other and start making more mutants. So that's one of the laws of the new mutant society. Like no, don't kill you don't kill humans, don't kill mutants, or you can kill mutants, but they'll come right back, and that's explained. It's very confusing. So make more mutants. That's the mantra. So I don't know I'm not a big fan of, you know, Wolverine going after Jean Grey. I'm a Cyclops Jean Grey guy. It's just like Mary Jane, Peter Parker, Lois and Clark, Richards and Sue. They're iconic couple. I like them together. I don't want to see this weird triangle, but hey, I'm in for the ride. Hickman, I'm sure, is gonna do something creative and weird. So. It's very exciting. It's very exciting, this book. I'm very excited for what's going to go. There's 20 different titles coming out. As Excalibur, Fallen Angels, Marauders, X-Force. I'm not going to read all those. I might pick up issue 1 here and there. I have a couple buddies that are going to pick up the whole run and look. So I'm going to wait for their opinions. I have a buddy named Matt. He's a big X-Men. He's on par with me with X-Men. He loves the X-Men. So I've been waiting to hear his review on some of those books, because he's kind of my gauge if I'm going to be into it or not. So, it's a very exciting time to be an X-Men fan. This is a good time to be an X-Men fan. I'm excited about this book. I'm just excited for the X-Men. Like, you know, this is going to be a good time to be an X-Men. We got, you know, MCU coming up. We got, you know, the books are going to be great. You know, hey, this is a good time to be an X-Men fan. And I'm excited for Hickman's run. It's going to be epic. It's going to be confusing. It's going to be, you know, we're going to be mind-effed every week. I'm very excited to see Hickman's take and where he goes with it. So, sorry this video ran a little long. I kind of wanted to be a little shorter, but it's ramblings. I'm still figuring this stuff out. I just want to say thank you for everyone that's been supporting, and thank you if you watch this whole video. I appreciate it. Thank you. Like and subscribe to the channel. There's been a great shout outs. It's gaining momentum, and we're trying to do more things. And I got camera and mic. I look professional now, somewhat. I would love to hear feedback. You know, I'm still learning, getting my voice and trying to learn this thing. You know, I'm just winging it as much as I can. But we're going to try to class up the joint a little bit and get some graphics and stuff like that. So it's a work in progress. So I appreciate all the support so far, and you know, hope to live up to the high standards that everyone has set. But thank you very much for watching this video, and like and subscribe at SF Comic Book Co. on the Instagrams and the Twitters. And yeah, be on the lookout for more videos. Yeah, and hopefully the weekly show will be starting soon. The SF Company Hour. So look for that, folks. All right. Goodbye.